My name is Uncle, and we are trying Qwen's latest model.
Merci.
I want to go to the movies and eat some popcorn. I want to go to the movies and eat some popcorn. Will you go with me?
So today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to use Qwen's latest model, their text-to-speech model, and I'm going to show you that through the Promptus interface. In Promptus, we're going to get started by going to our Cozy Flows tab. Now we're going to type in Qwen. Now to get to Cozy Flows, you can do it through our web application, or if you have the Promptus app installed in your Windows device, just log in and head over to Cozy Flows. We're going to then type in Qwen in the search bar, and that's going to bring up a few of their image models, but it will also bring up the text-to-speech workflows. So at the moment, we have 3 text-to-speech workflows that we've built for you, easy to use. We have the custom voice, the voice clone, and the voice design. In this video, we're going to go through all 3 of them, so don't worry, you're going to learn everything you need to know about how to use Qwen, and it's going to be super easy. All right, so we're going to select custom voice first, and you'll see here in our Cozy Flows template, we have all the information that we need to actually generate that voice. If we go to the top right, there's an icon that we can click on, and this will then bring down multiple options. So we can run this, we can create our voice, use this workflow on the playground. We can load it into Cozy UI. We can load it into Comfy UI. We can install it locally. If you have the Promptus application, you can install the actual workflow on your computer, on your Promptus app. That will allow you to run this locally on your machine. There will be no cost for computation. There will be no credits that you have to pay for, and you can generate an unlimited amount of voices and an unlimited amount of minutes. So if you have the Promptus application, click the install locally button, and again, that will just download the workflow and all the dependencies, the models, and the nodes. I do want to show you guys briefly how to load it into the Cozy UI, just so you know what that experience is like. So we're going to click load in Cozy UI. So that's going to open up your Cozy UI Studio, and then we're going to click launch Cozy UI. Cozy UI is a cloud canvas where we have the workflow actually loaded, and you can run it directly on your browser. Now, great. So now that you know how to run it in Cozy UI and how to install it locally, let's actually generate our voice. So we're going to start off with going through these different fields. So we first have your prompt. This is where you want to describe kind of what kind of voice you want to use. So maybe you want to use that you want them to be whispering, or you want them to be a radio presenter, or you want them to be at a sporting event, or you want them to be, at a party. Like, you just, any kind of contextual information that you want to use, you can put in here. If you don't really have any contextual information, you don't have to. But for demoing, let's do something kind of fun, which is do radio presenter. The Qwen model comes with multiple language options. So it has Chinese, English, Japanese, Korean, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and Italian. It also has the option to do an automatic detection. The way the automatic detection works is it looks at the text and then it tries to make it sound like whatever it's supposed to be. So if I wrote, hello, Promptus is probably the best AI visual workflow platform in the world. Vamonos. Right, so most of it is in English except the Spanish, which I put vamonos. It's going to say it all in English, but then vamonos is going to sound like it has an accent, like it's learning Spanish. So personally, I prefer to use the actual language that it's going to be in, but you can use auto, and a lot of this is just having fun and experimenting and trying different things. Now, this model also has pre-built speakers. So these are kind of voices that have been already pre-designed by Qwen itself. So we've got Aiden. Aiden's voice is a male voice. It's a younger voice. We've got people like Eric, who's more of a professional, kind of like clear voice. Anna, she's a Japanese voice. Or we've got like Uncle Fu. He's more like a charismatic, kind of fun voice. I've got a link in the description below, which has a lot more descriptors and examples of kind of those voices. But yeah, let's do Uncle Fu just to see what it sounds like. I think that would be kind of a fun one to kind of listen to and just see what Qwen's come up with. This model is very fast to compute, so we're gonna listen to it live here. So hopefully it doesn't take too long.
Hello. Promptus is probably the best visual workflow platform in the world. Vamonos. Hello. Promptus is probably the best visual workflow platform in the world. Vamonos.
Amazing. Okay, so that was I like Uncle Fu. So we can download this directly from here, or we can see it in our session generations. Now, in our session generations, when we move out of here and come back, it will disappear. So if you really like it, download it now. But you don't have to worry as well, because it will appear in your playground. All of your generations will appear in your playground, and that's where you'll have them stored. You can download them from there as well. So let's just do one more example. Let's do Anna, because I am curious. We've kept the language as English, but Anna's voice is a Japanese voice. So I do wonder if it's going to translate it, or if it's going to keep it the same. And then we'll see if the radio presenter prompt passes through and how accurate that is.
Hello, Promptus is probably the best visual workflow platform in the world. Vamonos. Hello, Promptus is probably the best visual workflow platform in the world. Vamonos.
So that's very, very different. It's very easy, very straightforward. Let's head over to the second workflow. The second workflow we're going to try is our voice clone workflow. Now, this will take an existing voice and clone it to the best of its abilities. I've tried it multiple times with using an 11 Labs voice and cloning that, and it's excellent. But most of the 11 Labs voices are very generic, bland. So I wanted to give you an example with a very recognizable voice so you can tell how good it is at the cloning. So in this example, we're going to let's do all files. So I recorded a small clip of James Earl, who's the actor, the voiceover actor for Lion King and for lots of movies, Coming to America. And so he's a very recognizable voice. I think you guys will know who he is when you hear his voice. So we're going to say just clear voice, and we'll just leave the target text. So the audio file that I attached is about 10 seconds long. So it's a very short clip, but it only needs, supposedly the documentation says they only need 5 seconds of audio. I think the more audio, the better.
All right. Well, I'll leave this Polaroid here. Goodbye. All right. Well, I'll leave this Polaroid here. Goodbye.
Amazing. So I think that's really, really good. But I want to try him in Spanish. And now I've done this test a few times. When I change the language to Spanish on the voice clone, but if I leave the text in English, it won't recognize that. It doesn't know that this is Spanish because it's using voice clone. So we do need to tell it that the script is going to be we need to translate the script. So we'll just say, hola, soy James Earl. Me gusta Promptus.
Hola, soy James Earl. Me gusta Promptus. Hola, soy James Earl. Me gusta Promptus.
That's pretty good. I really like that. That's really good. So you can see here, very quick and easy to do this generation. Took just 2 seconds, and I can save it, download it. So that's voice clone. Very simple, very straightforward process. The best is if you have at least 10 seconds of your audio file, and then you want to just upload that and generate. Now, what I do recommend is if you have a voice that maybe it's your voice that you're going to be using for multiple projects, go to our options here on the top, go to Cozy Flow Editor and edit it as a copy. And then that will save kind of the pre-settings. And I would change this to, if it's your voice, so Claudia, and then this is actually audio, and you can have it visible to the public or you can have it visible just to yourself. I'm going to say just for myself.
Okay, let's go to our Cozy Flow section. When you go back to Qwen Text Voice Design, okay, so let's walk through this specific template. So in the first section where it says your instruction, you want to describe how you want the voice to sound. So let's say we want it to be a radio presenter, strong, energetic voice. And you could do things like, I want it to be whispering, or I want them to be crying, or I want them to be an elderly person, or I want it to be a female, etc. Now, for this specific workflow, they have different options in terms of language. So we can choose Chinese, Japanese, Korean, French, German, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, or Russian. If you select the auto option, that will look at your text, so your script, and try and recognize what language that's in. So here we actually want to input our text. So we're going to say, hello, this is 99.8 FM. Make sure to stay tuned. Let's listen.
This is 99.8 FM. Make sure to stay tuned to listen to the greatest hits of the 2000s. This is 99.8 FM. Make sure to stay tuned to listen to the greatest hits of the 2000s.
Wow, that's great. Congratulations, you've made it to the end. Thank you for watching and support us and subscribe. We cover the best open source, free, and best AI visual workflows for image, video, 3D, audio, and more.